Um, this is called decorated blue Cypriot glass. His father was very good friends of General Chesnola, who was Abraham Lincoln's ambassador to Cyprus. And while he was Abraham Lincoln's ambassador to Cyprus, General Chesnola supervised the excavation of a great deal of Cypriot antiquities. Louis Comfort Tiffany was fascinated by the pitted surfaces of the glass that was dug up in Cyprus, and worked with his Venetian glass blowers in New York at the Corona factory that he owned to create what's called Cypriot glass, where you see the somewhat pitted surface. This is called decorated blue Cypriot. It was first shown at the Grafton Galleries by Sigmund's Maison d'Art Nouveau in 1899, and then shown to great acclaim in Paris in 1900 and later at the Turin Show of 1902. I like this vase very well because it belonged to my great-grandfather. Now, beyond Cypriot glass, he loved something called lava glass, where you really see these as symmetries, and the love of the accidental in art, which the accidental in art doesn't really come to play until much later in the 20th century. But here you see a beautiful example of how he had a great feeling for this. You could not control completely the shape of a vase like this, nor the iridescence. But these, the lava glass is one of the most sought after and most expensive. So if one of you feels like making a really nice donation to the collection, you could give us a piece of lava glass. Here is again another piece of lava glass, another example of wonderful accident in glassmaking. Splendid result. Both of these pieces I've shown you are in the Museum of Modern Art. And here is a piece of magnificent Cypriot glass that the KIA managed to acquire a few months ago, and that's downstairs. And you will see some of this rough Cypriot surfaces coming through the iridescence. It's of monumental scale, and it's wonderful to see a piece here. But don't let that discourage you from giving us a piece of lava glass if you really want to. Now, he made so many kinds of glass. This is another type that if you have one at home, we don't mind you bringing it in. This is agate glass, which is glass that has been plated. The blow of glass has been replaced in the crucible of different colored glasses many times. So it is plated and layered with many colors, and once it's cold, it is then faceted with these large plate facets and ground down to resemble agate. Please don't miss at the bottom the scarabs again. I don't think this agate glass vase has anything to do with Egyptian design, but there are the glass scarabs showing up once again with his love of everything Egyptian. Now, one of the most complicated things he did besides the peacock glass is paperweight glass, where you all know those little blobby paperweights with flowers in them that everyone's grandmother and many of us have, and they're wonderful. But imagine doing the same thing in a large vase and maintaining the shape of large daffodils and narcissus and flowers in large vases. And these are one of the paperweight vases, are one of the great triumphs of Mr. Tiffany's glassmaking and of the history of glassmaking. So I'm showing you several of them. This one, because of the color, is also called aquamarine glass. It was extraordinarily expensive. There's a whole collection of paperweight glass, and you see they're all different. You once again could not control exactly what was going on, but you could maintain these elongated flowers in very heavy, tall glass vases. And this is one that is even taller and probably more complicated to make than many of you have seen, and somehow the white narcissus at the top have remained intact, and this belongs to you. So hooray for you. You have a very beautiful paperweight vase. Yes, this is worth oohs and ahs. This is a Morning Glory vase. There were only, I believe, 12 of them made. They were the most expensive pieces of glass Tiffany ever made. After 12 of them, the complication was so great, the glass blowers and Mr. Tiffany said, "That's it." So there you have one. I don't expect to see one here, but you never know. Okay, more of Egypt. This is a type of glass called Tel el-Amarna, which is based on antiquities found at the new capital of Egypt, Thutmose III or Akhenaten, and again showing Mr. Tiffany's love of things Egyptian. And these are both in, I think these are in your collection. And these are. And there again is a mosaic showing that extraordinary variations of lapis lazuli blue from light to dark with gold that is a tribute again to the pharaonic jewelry and pharaonic design in gold and blue. It's a wonderful mosaic, and you can't see too well in this slide, but notice that the small ceramic vase at the bottom has 4 huge Egyptian scarabs at the corner, continuing again his Egyptian themes. Now, people always say, but what would have this looked like in a house if you had a complete Tiffany table service, etc.? This is a room that he did when he was very young. He did in 1880 at the New York 7th Regiment Armory, the Veterans Room at the Armory. The original Tiffany things in it were some of his beginnings in Favreau glass and iridescent glass that you see as the fireplace surround. And you can't see it too well, but there's an extraordinary mosaic of a bird all in glass above the fireplace. But on the table, all of the table furnishings there, all the glasses, the plates, the candlesticks, are all Louis Comfort Tiffany Favreau glass. And very, very affluent homes in New York or in Chicago or many places would have had table settings like this. So we managed to borrow from Louis Comfort Tiffany's great-grandson the glass that was a wedding present to his parents and set up a table to give you an idea of what a complete Louis Comfort Tiffany table setting would have looked like had you gone to a dinner party with Tiffany things in New York at the turn of the century. It's not bad, is it? And this is more of his table setting pieces. Excuse me, this is a flower holder that would have been a centerpiece that is also in your collection. It has wonderful iridescence, and again, these trailing morning glory vine leaves, very, very simple American flowers that he, again, somehow has managed to blow into the glass. Please notice the flower holder in the middle. It's called reticulated glass. It's sort of reticulated used to be a word I only understood in relation to skeletons, but I guess it relates to gas and glass too. And of course, you would insert one flower in each of those loops to make the centerpiece for your table. Just again to give you the idea of what Tiffany glass was used for and what table settings would have looked like in those days. Later on, he went further with his enameling, made a series of solid gold and enamel cups. This was one that he kept. He did not put it up for sale, and the company kept it. So in Tiffany's store that you all know in New York on 57th Street and 5th Avenue open, there were 2 vitrines on the 57th Street side. One held the Tiffany diamond, and the other this beautiful enamel cup. And by the way, the piece of mosaic that you see back of it is downstairs, belongs to you as well. 2 other examples. This is a very delicate one that was bought by Mr. Walters of the Walter Collection in Baltimore. He never put it on display. He thought it was too fragile. When he died, his wife sold it at auction. We eventually bought it back. It has never been allowed to be displayed because it is extraordinarily fragile, and it is downstairs in his first public display since it was made. So that's nice for you to have it here for the first time in history. And there's another one. I like it very much, but also please notice that there you have more of the mosaics you have downstairs from his mosaic collections. These were essentially samples that he would show his customers, whether he was decorating the Havemeyer House, he decorated the White House, by the way, for Chester Arthur, J.P. Morgan's other houses. Here is a window that also, we're taking you back to Chicago in 1893. On the other side of the hall from the chapel was a lighter spirited room, and this was one of the beautiful windows in it of Carolina parakeets, based on Audubon's print of Carolina parakeets, which you're probably familiar with, but he has added a fishbowl to the middle of it. That, again, look how the fishbowl and everything, nothing is painted. The birds are not painted. All of this is done in glass. And this he liked so much that for the San Francisco Pan-Pacific Exposition of 1915, he repeated that window in gold and enamels for the Pan-Pacific Exposition. It's an extraordinary object. For the same exhibit, he liked to take the themes of his windows. He had exhibited in Paris in 1900 a series called the Four Seasons windows. He liked them so much that for the Pan-Pacific Exposition, he made this jeweled and enamel box where you can see miniature reproductions of the Four Seasons windows. By the way, his relationships with Paris were so important that Seabury been commissioned from him Tiffany windows that were designed by Bonnard, Vuillard, Toulouse-Lautrec, Valentin. So not so bad, his reputation to have those men designing for him. But in any case, that probably was all a result of the Four Seasons windows shown in Paris, which were considered the greatest modern stained glass ever produced. And here he has made these miniatures of it for the Pan-Pacific Exposition in 1915 in San Francisco. He also produced since that's a very grand object and a very expensive gold and jeweled object, very simple objects such as this trivet, where again in mosaic on a very small scale, he has used one of his favorite motifs, the dragonfly. But here is another perfect example of how the patterns in the glass were chosen to make those dragonfly wings. Again, nothing is painted. There's simply people have gone through thousands of pieces of flat Tiffany sheet glass to come up with exactly the right colors and shadings to produce this wonderful small object, which is no bigger than a salad plate. It's a little gem of an object.